Art Expo, and we're doing another Disney-inspired painting. This one is the crow from Maleficent. Um, it's her sort of like a little sidekick, familiar, whatever, Diavel. So I just realized this isn't exactly pointing at the painting. There we go. Okay, the stream is live, good. And looks like everything's synced up. Okay, I'm going to get started here with some green and some purple. And of course you're looking at a blank palette, but if you know anything about my work, you know, I do this from start to finish, so this is literally a blank panel. I mean, and in a few hours it'll be a finished painting. The sketch is in the bottom corner of my little screen there, my concept sketch. So you can see where I'm going with it. It's going to be the crow. He's going to be sort of perched on top of Maleficent's like magical staff, whatever. Just going to get started with some color here. This is where the staff is going to be, so I want that to be nice and green. Sort of radiating out, and the rest will be purple. I'm using acrylic to start with, and I will go to oil as this dries. Because you can go that direction. You can do anything water-based underneath. You can go to oil-based stuff afterward once the first layer is dried completely. Basically, once there's no water left in it. The paint may still be curing for another few months, actually. Acrylic probably takes longer to cure than oil paint does, actually. It dries to the touch very quickly, but the polymers don't fully cure for a few months, actually. Okay. Oh, oops, that's the wrong color. I want purple, not phthalo blue. I want this a little darker to start with. Ooh, wow, that's pretty dark. That's all right. It's dark and it's a lot more intense in color than I want, but it's okay because I'd rather start intense and I can ease it off with a few more layers of paint on top. Alright, so now I'm going to let that dry for a second. Get these wet so they don't dry out. So let this dry for a few with my big old fan. You guys are welcome to type in some questions if you have in the chat. I am keeping an eye on that as best I can. Sometimes when I'm in the thick of it, it's really hard to watch and answer complicated questions because if I'm really, really focused on what I'm doing. But right now I'm watching paint dry, so please ask me a question or comment on something. So incidentally, you can we have these prints available for pre-sale. They're 40% off today during the stream. So check out the link that's in your... is the Amazing Art Expo site down? I can't access it. Well, that's a great question. That's, I can ask Nick about that. Okay. Yeah, we'll look into that. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. It's especially this early in the stream. That would suck to have finished the stream and I'm talking about prints and everyone's like, they're not there. So yeah, we're gonna check that out. This will be a fun exploration of black as a paint color, as a painting something that is a black object and all the different colors that are in black. I hear people talk about that a lot. That like, oh, black is such a hard color to paint. I mean, honestly, it's just like anything else. Anything that has a local color has a million different versions of that color in it. Yesterday I painted a Nemo-inspired piece. Yesterday, I'll show it to you. Yesterday I did this one. I did this one live on the show here. And of course, Nemo is an orange fish, and there are so many colors. There's all kinds of reds and greens and blues and whites, different variations of orange. So honestly, this is just as complicated as painting something that's all black. It has all kinds of different colors in it. I'm not sure why everyone typically says that painting something that's a black object is especially difficult. So I'm just going to make sure I adjust my my exposure settings on the camera here. Here we go, to make sure that doesn't change as I go. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to throw some blue in there, actually. A little bit of phthalo blue, greenish, maybe mixed with some purple. I can do that. That green will stay. See, I can do layers of color now. And it's funny, some people, they always say, oh, I'd love to watch you paint. And they tune in and watch, and like, this is boring. It doesn't look like anything. I'm like, yeah, because I'm just starting. Give me a break here. So it takes a while for the painting to look like what it's going to look like. But honestly, that's part of painting. You don't just start a painting and suddenly it looks like the finished subject. It takes a while. You have to build that up. This is like the foundation of a painting. I like to compare it to like a person. If you were to build a person from scratch, you start with bones and then fill them with organs and nerves and all kinds of gushy gooey things that you're looking at like, what is that pile of goo? You're like, it's a person. Like, doesn't look like much. It looks like a big pile of goo. Like, well, you have to wait a bit until it's finished, and at the very end you put the skin on and the clothing and the hair and finishing touches, and then, oh look, now it's a person. Now I get it. So like, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the foundational bones and guts and things of a painting. Okay. Okay, Kimberly and Amy, hi guys, thanks for watching, and glad you guys are enjoying watching these. Sometimes I don't know if anybody actually watches them or enjoys them, considering usually the start of the stream, there's like 25 people watching, and then within like 10 or 15 minutes, there's like 8. And it's usually the same like handful of people. So I'm like, well, I guess some people like it. But yeah, glad you guys are watching. Thanks for checking it out. It wasn't until, we were home quarantined and we're not able to do shows anymore. So we're like, well, we need a way to still connect with our audience. I've never, ever had anybody in my studio watching me work or, done any films. I've done a couple of painting instructional videos on my own. But that's very different than just like anytime I paint something, it's on camera. And I'm talking in my studio to nobody. There's nobody here, and I'm looking at chats, and, I'm glad you guys actually like watching that, because it's there's a lot of work for me to set up, and it's a very different environment for me to paint in. So I appreciate that you guys are enjoying it. I don't think I'm going to need the entire 5 hours to do this piece, because it's pretty simple. I mean, I guess yesterday's was simple too, and I took like 4.5 hours to do it, so I guess, that should be good. Okay. I'm going to add some more darkness. I'm going to use my fun tool here. I love this thing, my paint roller. Just to add and I'll have to go over it with some other colors too at the end, just to dull it out a little bit, to give it some more sort of transparency and depth. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just do that. Here's where your economy of stroke is really important. Doing something like this. Being very deliberate with each sort of, roll in this case, but brush stroke, same thing. Come on, sometimes this thing doesn't roll, it just sort of slides on the palette. I want those little rectangles rolled on the surface. I like that it's like a pile of broken glass looking on the surface of my painting, like all these different colors of paint sort of all wedged on top of each other. Yeah, these are techniques I've spent years figuring out, and now I'm just here sharing them with all of you, so I hope you guys really appreciate that. Kira says, I'd love to see you go from the blank canvas to the finished product. The layers and all the colors that go into the painting fascinate me. Oh, good. They do for me too. I'm glad you like that. I think it's fascinating to see all the layers that go into a piece. In fact, I very deliberately found ways to layer them. I mean, I could mix the right color in the very beginning and just put down the right color on a blank white surface, and it would be done. But I think it's really, it's a little don't know, boring isn't the right word. It could still be really nice. But I mean, there's a reason why painters do what's called an underpainting. So you have some kind of color that you're painting on top of. There's a depth of colors that happens. Just like when you look at a person's skin. Let's say you're painting a person. You know, you can see on the surface level, oh yeah, that's the color of their skin tone, whatever color that is. You mix that paint, you put on. Well, not really, because there's all kinds of surface subtextures that are underneath there. There's blood and muscles and nerves and veins and things that are changing those colors and adding colors that that are poking through the surface just barely. And if you can capture all those as showing them as a layered sort of thing, then it'll look more realistic, I think. So I'm slowly now revealing the light. This is where her staff is going to be. I'm slowly revealing that by darkening other things. Incidentally, for any of those who are painting or art students, I do have all of my painting courses available through our Patreon. So if you subscribe to our Patreon, then you actually have access to all of my painting courses where I talk about this stuff in a lot more detail. I have 7 oil painting courses, and those I don't do the acrylic underpainting. It's more traditional all oil. But I talk about all these concepts in a lot more detail. And I provide my reference photo that I'm using, as well as a copy of the finished painting for you to study. And it's usually like, I don't know, 4 to 5 hour videos, including a charcoal sketch that I do, and stuff like that. So they're pretty cool. So if you want to learn more about painting in general, and maybe specifically the way that I paint, I think it's worth a look-see. Check out our Patreon page. It seems to add depth. Yeah, that's the point. It definitely adds. You know, it's like if you want to make the color green, you can either mix, you know, a yellow and a blue of some kind and put them down as a paint pigment, or you can put down a layer of blue and a layer of yellow and let light pass through them and let that make the color. Very different experience to your eye. You can also, it's called an optical color, when the light mixes it for you. You can also do that. You can make colors that you can't mix together as a pigment. Like, if you want to take a red and a green, you mix those together in your palette, you're going to get like a brown, which, you know, that might be fine if that's what you want, a brown color. And you put the brown pigment on your painting and you're done. Or you put a layer of red and a layer of green and let the light mix them, and you get something else entirely. That you get an optical color that you could never mix. So that's what I like to do. And I've spent a long time and hundreds and hundreds of paintings figuring out how to do that. And also experimenting with tools and mediums and things. Okay, there's the crow, that black sort of blob there. I'm setting up my blob shape. everything wet. If you're doing acrylic paint, all your tools and your palette needs to either be wet or it needs to be clean. Otherwise, the acrylic will just dry in seconds and ruin everything. I spray it down with just a water bottle. Spray down my tool. So I'm not done with it yet. Let's blast this with some no subtitles. I mean, you should be able to turn subtitles on even for the live videos. The live videos, there's usually an option in the streaming window to turn on subtitles. The audio recognition stuff is so good, they usually can pick that up and have them on there. So I've never played around with it. And yeah, Abby, we do have painting courses. I mean, you could be a beginner or an advanced student. You know, there's stuff. If you're a beginner, it'll sort of start you off properly. Maybe, I mean, it really depends on what you're bringing to the course. An advanced student's going to get different things out of it. A beginner student's going to get different things out of it. But you know, it'll work for either. So yeah, you certainly can take the course as a beginner, and it'll probably get you off to a really advanced start than most beginners have. So the concepts that I'm talking about are really foundational and really crucial, yet they can be as high level as you can take it. You know, so it's different painters at different levels will get different things out of it. In fact, you could probably take the course, and take my courses and get what you can out of them, and then paint for 5 years, and then come back as a more experienced painter and take them again and get something totally different. So it's like the course doesn't change, but you've changed. So now it's a different course. That's pretty good. That's really purple right now. Let's add some white and maybe some brown. That kind of might dull it up a little bit. It adds some other interesting, unexpected colors. Maybe some burnt umber. Abby, sure, of course. Thanks for watching and thanks for asking a question. And I hope you get a chance to check out the courses. They're pretty awesome, I think. I have plans to make several more, actually. Let's do my bigger brush here. I'm just going to sweep this over with some. That's way too thick. It's okay, that'll thin out. Acrylic definitely tends to dry a little more transparent than when you applied it. This seems to just be what it does, which is fine. Just have to keep that in mind. Yeah, throw a little brown on this guy here. It'll almost look like there's like red back there. because color is relative. When you put one color next to another color, it looks very different. Kind of gives like an aged look to it even too. Maybe I'll do a touch of yellow here. I don't have a proper cool yellow. I've only got this warm sort of cadmium yellowish color. I need like a lemon yellow or something. I mean, this is close enough just for the underpainting. It's good enough for jazz. Yeah, I want this to be a little more of a yellow quality green instead of a blue. Maybe I can even do, to make this a little lighter in value for when I do the painting on top, I can add some extra sort of bright areas. Yeah, that'll be nice when I add the paint. So the value has somewhere to go. All right, that just might be just about a finished underpainting. Clean this off real quick while I'm thinking. Sometimes you have to think, which is really hard with these videos. I'm like, oh, I have to be working and performing. Oh, yay, I'm a painter, and it's great. I'm cranking through a painting. It's like sometimes you just have to stop and stare at it and think. And that's really hard to do when I'm under a microscope like this. So, I can't help but, while I'm thinking and looking, I glance over at the feed and I see the number of viewers go down as I'm like, oh, I better get back to work. I'm like, I am working. That's the thing that's hard to realize. Even if I'm just staring and thinking about it, I am still working. And it's hard to balance that. Let's take another picture. Incidentally, on our Patreon, these photos that I take are available to our patrons, so you can study them. We have the progress photos of all the paintings that I do. Nick, if you want to post those Patreon links, they're probably oh, hey Austin, how's it going, man? This is just water. I'm using acrylic right now, so I spray everything down with water just to keep it all wet. But once this dries, which I might be done here, then I'll switch to oil, in which case I do not ever want to spray water on it. I might actually just sort of sketch out the shape of the bird here just so I could see it. Bird. This is just for placement here. Where's that shoulder? Is right there. That's about there, about halfway. That's a wing. Here's I'm not doing any details right now. This is just placement for me. Bird. There you are. And his feet are up there somewhere. I really don't need to do those yet. I mean, well, I guess I can. Maybe they're going to be like here. Somewhere in there. And the staff is going to be like here. Maybe a little more this way. And there, just sort of showing the outer glow of it. I can pick it out later. Once I can do more sort of subtle rendering and stuff. This will be kind of a little darker in here. It's sort of a root. It's a cool like root motif that the staff has. So making this a proper value right now. It's going to have this cool twisted look to it, as it like a twist of the root, bark, whatever. Which is kind of cool because that's what trees actually do. If you ever study a tree, they actually twist as they grow, which I really think is cool. Ooh, gotta plug in my computer. I've had that happen before when my computer dies and the stream goes pew. You know what, let's do another sort of coat of sort of this lightish, that's way too much white, purplish brown, whatever. That's had a chance to dry. Now this will help me sort of start to reveal the bird's form a little bit. I gotta be careful now because this is, when acrylic dries, it's still kind of just skinned over. It hasn't dried completely, so I'm always in danger of just pulling it off accidentally, especially with too much water on the brush. So I've always got to be careful about that. So I can do one brush stroke at a time. You should paint like that all the time anyway. You should be able to look at your painting and count your brush strokes. But if a stranger looked at your painting, they should be able to count how many brush strokes it took you to do it. Oh, and my feed's a little chunky. It'll catch up. The audio is probably fine as it's like off. The palette is the only thing that's actually like in sync. The other ones will catch up. Sometimes my feed gets weird like that. There's really nothing I can do about it. That's actually pretty good. I might let that dry and do one more sort of lighter coat, maybe. Yeah, let me do that. Let's just get everything wet here. Come on. Do that one more time. Blast this with the old Vornado. And it's starting to look like a bird. Look at that. Of course, it's green and purple because all the evil characters are always green and purple. Let's see. Yep. My painting, the palette cam is still the only one that's properly. Oh well, what are you gonna do? They'll catch up. It's in those takes in minutes. I used to freak out about it, but I just don't anymore. I don't think my computer can. It's a brand new MacBook, less than a year old. But maybe it can't handle all these different video feeds. Hi, there, April. Love watching you work your magic. Awesome. Speaking of magic, huh? So, you know, Team Seeker, right here. In case you need extra verification that I'm totally a dork. I'm going to hit that with a lighter value one more time. One final time. Lighter sort of purple. And then it'll be, let's see, maybe a touch more blue. Sort of this grayish. And then all together these colors will add up. And it's this great crisscrossy quality to all these brush strokes too, which is fun. Again, you gotta be real deliberate and real careful. I mean, careful is not the right word. There's has to be a reckless abandon that goes in there too. You can't just be careful all the time. But, you know, maybe around the edges it can go a little darker. I've always kind of liked that darker vignette around the edge. Hufflepuff life, that's right. You're Jackie. So I'm reading your long comment, Jackie. You came to one of the shows, awesome. You got a Harry Potter, Wonder Woman, Alice in Wonderland. Oh, nice. You're gonna get a new piece for your collection. Sure. Yeah, I've got a ton of new stuff. If you came to the show last year, I've done quite a lot of new pieces since then. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you came to the show. It was nice to meet you. Hopefully we can come back to your town again soon. From Houston. Okay, right. We were just in Houston in March, like literally the weekend before the whole quarantine started. We were just in Houston, so bummer if you missed us. Okay, I think this is done for underpainting. And Lord of the Rings. I just did 3 Lord of the Rings paintings like a month ago. So yes, I will certainly do more, but you just missed my most recent 3. And Camilla asked about water-soluble oil paints. I never used them as water-soluble paint. I used them because they were quite inexpensive, actually. They're really affordable paint for the amount of paint you get in the giant 200 milliliter tubes. They're all like 13 or 14 bucks. And they do actually have a lot of pure pigments, which is cool. But I liked it because they dried a lot faster. At the time, I was really getting my paints to dry. I was using oil paint, but having them dry as fast as I could. So that was my focus at the time. I've since moved on to just regular linseed oil based oil paints. I use Williamsburg oil paint. And I guess I feel like the Williamsburg one is a better quality than the Lucas water soluble ones I was using. But the Lucas ones are still great. I use those professionally for like, I don't know, 5 years doing a lot of really great pieces. So definitely professional grade paints. I just like the Williamsburg ones better. That's like another step up, I think. But yeah, I never use them as with water ever. You can. That's what they're made for. Is if people who are like allergic to mineral spirits, they make water soluble oil paint. So you can use water as the medium. I just never really needed to for that purpose. I just liked them. They're actually really good quality paint. They dry really quick and they're really inexpensive. That's the Lucas Berlin brand. Here is the old oil palette. Ready to go. Actually, I didn't even bother cleaning it up from yesterday. It's the same palette. That's what's great about oil paint. I can keep this out for a couple days. This is the only color of water-soluble oil paint I still use. It's the Lucas Berlin white, because it dries much faster than regular oil paint, titanium white, like days faster. So that's why I still use that one. I'm probably going to use more Viridian. This is drying. This will need a good 10 minutes to dry or so, so I might have to let this sit while I'm doing other things here. I don't know what I'm going to need yet. I'll just leave those for now. Alright, let me clean up my brushes and stuff and turn on the fan on this thing because it needs to dry before I can do anything. And I'm going to go to the sink and clean up my brushes. I'll be right back. Incidentally, don't forget we have the prints of this piece are available for 40% off. So check the link out, and the original is still available for this one as well. So check that out. I'll be right back. Oh, Jack, he said you moved to the Springs. Oh, nice. Yeah, we do shows in the Springs. That's one of our places to do. So next time we can do a show, I'm sure we'll definitely be out there. So yeah, that'd be awesome. Hope to see you there. Let's see, paper towels out. Good. There's my mineral spirits. I've got our medium out already. We'll take a picture of this. Okay. Now we're going to get into it. As Bob Ross says, let's have some fun. This is your world. You're the creator. Now, let's have some fun. Let's build some almighty mountains and some happy little trees and happy little clouds. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. You can be an artist. You can do it. Thanks, Bob. You're welcome. Happy painting, and God bless, my friend. Bob hangs out in my studio with me, gives me inspiration. Okay. Gotta just dry off my brushes here. If I'm gonna paint for several days in a row, I won't really clean my brushes off. I'll clean them off a bit and just stick them in a jar of water overnight. Even if they're oil paint, you can do that and it'll keep them from drying out. You just gotta wipe the water off the next day. It's funny because the oil paint can still actually dry out in water, because oil paint doesn't dry, it oxidizes. So strangely, it still can dry even if it's in water. It just slows it down a lot. When will we be back in Colorado? Well, we are in Colorado. We're in Denver. So I would say, I mean, whenever we can do a show again, whenever that really makes sense. With the COVID stuff, it's really hard. But as soon as we can, I'm sure you know we will, because that was like our main source of income was doing shows, and that's why we started doing live streaming, because suddenly our entire source of income dried up, and we're like, okay, what can we do? Like, well, I'm still painting, so what if we started doing the live streams and having sales and stuff. So it's almost like we're doing a show this way. Dang, Rona. Yep. Yeah, you can be sure that as soon as we can do a show, we can. And I'm sure the first one we'll do is here in Denver, um, because it's our home gallery. You know, we have the gallery downtown. The gallery is still open. We open. I think we just opened to the public recently. We were trying that out again. The galleries, the Incredible Art Gallery is still what that one's called. That's our location downtown, so you can still check that one out. All your canvases are embellished by me. You want to keep the trend. Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely keep that trend going. Okay, that feels dry enough. I guess I can use these right now. Gotta lube it up. Shit. Dip that in the paint. Yeah, this gets the painting nice and slick, as if it were still a wet oil painting. I even learned this idea from Bob Ross. I took it a lot further than what he was doing, but this started out as a technique he would do on his show, and I sort of ran with it, and it's evolved quite a bit, but it kind of started by me just watching his show. I'm like, that's kind of an interesting idea. I love how he does black gesso, lets it, does some textury stuff with his gesso, lets it dry completely, and then puts a thin coat of medium over it. Sometimes he actually puts a thin coat of transparent paint as well, which I don't typically do. But then he, with this thin coat of medium on it, now he almost has a wet painting again. He can paint right on top of, wet into wet. And then it doesn't disturb the texture of the black gesso that he's done. So he has this cool layer of textury things underneath his transparent paint that he puts on top. I'm like, damn, Bob, that's a great idea. I'm going to try that out. And that's kind of where I've taken this. That's really where this idea came from. And you got to take most of the oil off. It has to be just oily, not really slick, otherwise the paint doesn't stick, it just slides all over the place. All right, bird. Let's see what we got here for a bird. Opinion here, but watching how acrylic works is pretty amazing. You can do all that without messing it up. Well, you really never mess it up. That's really a misnomer. Whatever you're doing is going to be great. It's not really messed up. It's a happy little accident, right, Bob? Okay, this thing. The bird really stands out from this background because, yes, he's too dark of a value right now. I think it's okay, though. Yeah, I think that should still be all right. All right, this is tough. There's really no way to, what do I block it in with? And so it begins. Oh, I love that these paints were left out since yesterday and they're still just as buttery and oily as they were. You guys probably see me do this all the time. Like, does he need glasses or what? And I'm like, no, I'm squinting. You're always squinting at your subject, which that topic I explain a lot more in my painting videos if you guys ever end up checking those out on our Patreon page. There's an eye orbit. And there's a couple major sort of feathery plane changes. There's one. Here's his other shoulder. Where is it? Right there. There's that shoulder. That joins. There's that arc and that arc. Because he's got his head turned and there's a twist. A little higher on that eye orbit, I think. There's that wing. And here are his feet. Now the placement of the legs is really important so that he's balanced properly. You put them in the wrong spot, and he's going to be off balance. You kind of go back. With a this foot is sort of right on. Yeah, this one's kind of like he's standing on one foot and he's sort of adjusting his weight, I think is what's happening here. We've started seeing Bob Ross videos in the UK. Say he's no longer with us. Yeah, he died in the late 80s, I think, early 90s. But yeah, I used to watch him when he was on TV, like on public access, when I was a little kid. And I used to sit at the coffee table. I remember we had this black slate sort of octagon coffee table. And that was pretty awesome to sit there and watch him work, and like I'd get my crayons out and I would try to like follow along with Bob Ross. You could say that was my first painting instruction, really. Let's do a little bit of glow, reflected light on the bottom of old Diavel there. I'm going to make sure those connect. He's sort of got a little bit of a... Sometimes the French word comes to my mind quicker than the English word. Ventre. I'm like, he's got a little bit of a ventre there. Like, belly. Let's say yeah, I don't know if I need a lighter on that side because it's going to be light in the background. That'll cut him out nicely. I suppose I could hit my darkest darks right now. I really wish I could... Nick, when are you going to set up our Spotify thing so we can have people listen to the music I'm listening to? I got some sweet tunes going right now. Who's playing right now? Listening to Charlie Puth. Puth. I'm not sure how to say his name, but he's got some kicking tunes going on. I have a cool, like, a dance sort of mix. And who was before that? I think it was Selena Gomez, that song Bad Liar. That's actually a pretty cool song. Alright, I want a bigger brush for this. Yeah, this I can't play it on the thing, otherwise they mute our audio later and we can't use the video. Charlie Puth, song Girlfriend. It's pretty sweet. Alright. And I don't actually have black on my palette because I used to paint, black was one of my main colors. Black used to be one of my only 4 colors. I used to only use 4. But I do, I like to make my own black at this point because it's a lot more flavorful, I think, if that makes sense. Alright, there's going to be so many colors in here. Yeah. Carve out that beak a little better. Now these colors are going to, even see that black is going to change flavor. I want it to be more green on the bottom and more purple on top. A little bit more medium. That shoulder is tucked underneath this wing is pretty dark. Sort of soften that edge just for my own edification. That's not how I'll leave it, but it's this place to start. Hey, it's looking like a bird already. What is the promo code? The promo code is LIVESTREAM. Livestream. Nick will probably post the link again here soon. Alright, ooh, you know what's going to happen? That darkest dark is going to change to be more that dark will be more green. Yeah. As it catches all this light. That's the kind of thing you can do when you notice things and you take liberties like that. I can play with light. I love playing with light. That really is the only thing you're painting. You're painting light. That's it. That's all you have. So if you learn how to manipulate that properly, you can do whatever you want. Let's do the front of his breast. There is going to be like catching that glowy glow from the... There you go. You're welcome, Jackie. Hope you get some cool stuff there. I don't need this right now. Yeah, this will be a little darker green for a while. Now what's happening here, this is sort of becoming this underplane, which might still even have this lighter. Till about there. That might have it even more because it's really pointing right at it. But then it'll get darker and more blue as it moves away. That comes a little longer. Alright, and then this is going to get more blue on top here. Not as dark. Dare I add just a smidge? A whisper of white there. Actually does get a little lighter back there. I will render this better later. This is still just a block in. Now I can add a little more white. That might have been too much. It's okay, I can darken it. Here's sort of two sort of reflected light plane change little bits here. This is going to have some great color in here. I just need to mark those. This comes up here and joins that, so that whole plane is lit a little bit. Hey, it looks like a bird. A little darker back here. Oh, I want more purple probably. Here. Looks like this. Yeah, those feathers are kind of reflective actually. There's a wing feather sort of sticking out there. It's a nice dark on the back of his neck there. A little bit of feather sort of flaying out on the breast as he turns. There's that shoulder again. Have I ever thought about doing something from Labyrinth? Oh, sure. I've had a whole list of really great movies that I could do that would be great, like doing a movie poster kind of thing. I've thought about that for a long time. Just, I know how much work each one of those would be, and I haven't had a chance to do it yet. The only real sort of movie I've done two. I've done two sort of paintings based on movies, almost poster style, but like with no words. I did Indiana Jones, The Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I did Guardians of the Galaxy. I've been thinking about finishing the Raiders series, the Indiana Jones series, for a long time. But that painting took me a couple weeks. I'm like, oh, so much work. All those portraits all over the damn thing. So I'm like, to do another one of those would be. And there's what, three more movies to do, and they're supposed to be coming out with a fifth. I guess I always said if they do come out with a fifth Indiana Jones movie, then I'll go ahead and I'll finish the series. I've done, the Indiana Jones, I've done the first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The painting's called The Ark of the Covenant. So I've done that one, but I haven't done any of the other ones. Although now I'm thinking about it, I did that one as a horizontal piece. And to do a series of pieces horizontally, it's much harder than if they were vertically. You could sort of layer them, stack them against the wall. I'm like, oh crap, if I do that, I might want to start over and do a vertical one so they're all vertical. So it's like, okay, that means I got to start all over again. I don't know, it's just so many things going on, I haven't had a chance to really pay attention to it. To really put the time in to do it properly. There's a little bit of more of a neck thing there. His neck is a little thicker, actually. Yeah, see, sometimes you just have to stop painting, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I didn't notice that before. Let's fix that. Alright, let's get rid of that brush. Alright, let's get into some details here. Push up the meter, bump this meter, shake the tweeter. Alright, let's see. I have this brush, this will work. Oh, a little darker. There's sort of this indentation. Yeah, a lighter brush for some of that. I really should have some of my phthalo green yellowish. I need all the greens for this one. Just a little bit. Because, yeah, that'll work well for that. There's sort of this lighter plane going across the front of his beak here. And along the bottom. This brush is really not sharp, but I'm wondering if it'll help keep it loose. A little darker in there, like a little divot. The painting is really just about observing. Like, oh, I've never noticed this about a bird before. I can't say I never painted a crow before. some lighter, tiny bits of value in there. This goes a little higher. It's got a shiny little beak there. And there's a bit of light. Let's make that more purple on top. A little too light. Make it a little darker. And then this actually gives a more of a straight line here. That defines the beak opening, I think. Now I need a lighter brush. I'm going to do some light green, blue. A little highlight. Now I need an extra sharp brush to make that beak opening there. This comes a little lighter. There's a beak. Let's carve out that. Yeah, I want a little more purple up here. A little darker. Carving out this eye orbit. And here's my sort of other darker brush. So everyone says, oh, black is such a hard color to paint because there's so many different colors in it. I'm like, well, like I pointed out, any object that has a local color of something has a lot of other colors in it. What the hardest thing about it is your value range is so minimal. You get this narrow little value range. Let's push this back a little further. A little more purple. That's way too light. It's okay. This is really going to be a fun brushy painting because we got feathers going everywhere. That's what feathers are made for. Well, feathers weren't made. That's a little arrogant for me to. Feathers were made for me to paint them. Like, no, they were made for the birds to fly around and live their lives. But they're definitely fun to paint. If anything ever called for fun brushiness, it would be bird feathers. I really should. I'm trying to paint more wildlife because it's really fun. I think there's a lot more expression, not more room for expression than there is in painting people necessarily. If that makes any sense. Let's poke in his little eyeball there. Where is that? That's a little too low. So you can just sort of push it around. A little higher on there, maybe. Need this to be a little darker edge of that eye. Well. Alright, that's getting a little big. Do I use feathers as paintbrushes? I never have, but there's no reason why you couldn't. I have seen them sold for specific textural purposes, so obviously somebody has, because they're selling them for that reason, but I say go for it. Maybe you could be the first one. You can use anything that makes a mark, or anything that scrapes away paint. Even you can make a mark by removing paint too. It doesn't have to only be through adding paint. You can use it to remove paint. Sort of think backward. I'm going to do a nice highlight right there. There's an eyeball. You used to work in an art gallery that had some in it that was pretty cool looking. Well, go for it. That can be your shtick. Everybody's got their thing. That's like their their signature texture or technique or whatever. Who's to say yours isn't painting with feathers? You still have to paint well. It can't just be about feathers and that's it. It still has to be a good painting. Don't rely on your shtick for its own sake. Like some people who just like, what if I paint by throwing my naked body against the canvas? No one's ever done that before. Sure, your painting is garbage, but it's a cool idea. You still can be able to paint well. People aren't going to buy it, just because you did some weird application of paint. That can't be your only saving grace. There's some dude. Oh no, it's some woman online. She painted by drinking pigments and then vomiting them back up onto a canvas that was sitting on the floor. It's like, okay, no one's ever done that before, but that doesn't mean that your painting is going to be great and change the world just because it's unique and weird. Like, it still has to be a good painting. I can fill in a little more back of his head there. That's what it needed. But sometimes having a unique tool will give your painting a unique look that no one else has, for sure. But, you know, you should be able to do a great piece of artwork with a pencil and a paper, like copy paper and a number 2 pencil. If you can do that, then you can really bring it home with literally anything. I saw a video. I love the artist Jeremy Mann. He's very well known. You probably all have heard of him. I was watching an interview where he was doing a demonstration somewhere where he was giving the same concept of like anything can be used as a painting tool to demonstrate. People, I think they all like threw out suggestions, one of which was a piece of lettuce and a banana. So, all right, so, you know, it takes, he said the lettuce was completely failing miserably. It wasn't really working at all, so maybe not everything. But honestly, I think you could use lettuce as like a smushing or a textural kind of thing. Never tried it, but I'm like, I wouldn't give up on it. But he said, you know, he pulls out this banana. I'm assuming he peeled it because he said it was like really soft and it actually was blending really well. It blended the paint really well. He was sort of using it to sort of massage the paint on the canvas. And, you know, they're making jokes about it. But he said after a few minutes, he stopped talking and the class stopped laughing. And he was just working on the painting for like 15 minutes with a banana. And he said it was great. So you can use any kind of tool that makes a great mark that you like. For a long time I had a mark in my mind that I couldn't figure out how to make with paintbrushes. So I started not using paintbrushes. I started trying to find other tools. And I did. I started making my own tools. I use hunks of rubber. I use ink brayers and paint rollers. I've used plastic bags to sort of smush it and make cool textures on it and stuff. Go to the department store, or rather the like a Home Depot, like a home improvement store, and just walk around and look at all the weird stuff they got there and buy something and take it home and smush it on your painting and see what happens to it. I've even taken that concept into my sketchbook, and I do some really unorthodox techniques. It's only called unorthodox because you're the only one that does it. So make it orthodox. It's too bright. Darn it. Yeah, this is dark up to there. Sort of there's 2 layers of. See, it's looking like a bird already. That's pretty cool. So incidentally, Nick is posting those. These pieces are available for sale. This particular one, we have prints. You can buy them on pre-sale. Even before I'm finished with the painting, you can own the print. And then when I'm done, I'll upload the high-res image to our printer, and we can make stuff and mail it out to you. But you can get one now. And the reason we do that is so we can have this cool sale. It's 40% off. That's almost half off. So that's insanely great deal. So you should jump on that. And the original is still available. So you can own this piece I'm working on right now, the original oil painting. Before I'm even done, you can be the one to buy it. We do very often sell our paintings while I'm working on them on the live stream. So if you're interested in that, I would definitely jump on that. That is also 40% off. We're serious about the sale. So check that out if you're an original collector. Where's my lighter brush? This might be a lighter. I like the blue here instead of a green. A couple little swishes of the brush here, and there's a bunch of feathers. That shoulder comes out a little further. It's only been an hour and a half. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to need the whole time today, but that's just how it goes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, which is fine. I have plans later today. I was hoping to get to. I occasionally do some fun sort of social distancing barbecue stuff with friends. So one of those is happening today. So that was my aspiration for this afternoon. Let's see, that's a tail. Oh, he's looking nice and shiny and glossy. I love it. And then right up on top of that wing that's sort of sticking out there. Crows are pretty awesome. There's an artist I know, I don't know her personally, but I'm familiar with her work. Her name is Lindsay Kustush. I don't really know how to pronounce her last name. Kustush. She does brilliant work with really fabulous brush work. And she paints a lot of crows. And now I know why, because God, they're fun. All the fun shades of black happening just really makes for a beautiful exploration. Now let's say I can hit this with a little more green because this is facing downward toward that light. Let's round this shoulder off nicely. I'm gonna have some cool trees in the background and stuff. It's real subtle trees, just to give something, some kind of environment. And then this staff thing will be interesting to work on. All right, now here's where I think this is going to turn green. We'll do a little more blue-green first. as it wraps around the front of his little neckline there. And this is a nice bright, let's say green to blue. Well, since I've already got blue, let's do blue to green. These have some nice bright highlights. I can even do more of a purple actually up here. Lighter. And they get more blue as they get down here. Oh, directional change there, and then I want them to be more green over here. What's great about the oil is it's still wet, and I can still go in there and blend and do really cool things with it. Alright, this needs to be a lot brighter. Nice highlight there, look at that. Diavel. Or just a black crow if that's what you like. Now this shoulder. Gonna be a little lighter. Now I need some more green black to sort of pick in these. Some feathers on the front here. And then a little pocket where the inside the legs there. Oh, that's his other leg, I see. Yeah. That actually is a little more round. A little bit of a roundness more there, I think. Let's get some nice juicy yellow, green. Some of these bottom feathers. Here's sort of a highlight area as this rolls over. And here's where some of these feathers sort of converge. Is this big enough? This shoulder is a little bigger. There we go. A little more round on the bottom there. Okay. So let's see where we're. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. I'm Christopher Clark. If you've never seen my work before, this is a Disney-inspired piece from the movie Maleficent. So this is inspired by the Diavel character, her little familiar sidekick, possibly romantic interest. And you know, who doesn't want a fun excuse just to paint a bird? Let's see, this is a straight. That's sort of a bulbous sort of bit there. And then this needs to be lit underneath. That's his claw. There's another one there, so I'll just do, there we go. It's going to have some more texture on it eventually. A little thicker maybe there. And we'll do a shadow on top. I'll have to carve out that part later. And there's sort of these sort of nice cylinder circles that go up the length of the leg here. A little bit of light there. A couple like feathers or something there, I think. Yeah, we'll say that there's some light. On the front of that. There we go. And here's this front of that leg there. There's a claw. Now this leg won't be as dark because I wanted to show that it's a little further back. So it's like getting light on the inside of that. Maybe I need to add a little bit of this. There we go, to show that that's the front of that leg. Cool. Alright, I should stand back and look at this for a second. And also just stand up and stretch. Ugh. I've got a mirror back here too that I look at it in. darker shadows for some of these converging feathers here. That would be a shadow behind that one. I might not be able to do that until I do some of the background elements there. There's sort of this couple of feathers there. And now on this side, I want them to be this pink, I'm sorry, this sort of purple. So there's a lighter plane on this side. Where's my dark? That might go more like that, just pointing these feathers all in the right direction. Separation there. Well, that's a lively looking character there. I could get a nice rich dark here. There needs to be some longer several sort of stacked feathers. I don't know what this is. It's not. It's too dark. Weird little pocket there. There we go. It's a bird. I could do a couple nice little shinies on the other side of that. And some purple. Yeah, it's nice. I think I need to paint this before I can finish his legs, just so that makes sense. Alright. Oh. Gotta remember to take a break once in a while. Otherwise your shoulders don't forgive you later. Ugh. Ugh. Soften that. All right, let's do this, the head of this staff thing. that up. Oh. It's so hard to adjust this thing. Is that good? It keeps sliding. Sorry, hang on. I gotta tighten that a little bit. There we go. I have this suspended thing from the ceiling, and it's kind of tough. It's a little bit nice equipment and a little bit totally hacked together, but it works. Let's take a picture. Alright, it's hard to take in a picture sometimes because I got all these lights behind me and they reflect off the shiny, especially when it's a black, dark value painting like this. It's really shiny. Okay, let's do... this magical staff thing. How come wizards always have a magic staff? They can't do magic by themselves? They need a stick. A magic stick with a magic crystal at the end of it. I want a magic stick. So I'm sure you can't just like, you know, did she make her own stick, Maleficent? Or is it like, did she go to Magic Stick Emporium? Like Harry Potter style? Let's find this egg. Yeah, this thing has to be underneath. It's already off. Let's move that over a little bit. Yeah, it's got to be straight upright with the bird balancing on top of it. The staff chooses the wizard. I guess so, right? Good call. That's going to go right underneath his little foots. So there's part of the bottom of the egg there. Here's this part. That should be a little darker in the center. And it gets a little lighter around the edges and a little more yellow. It's got kind of a yellow. Evil is always green and purple, and by doing this yellow, it's definitely a yellowish green kind of light, but it's kind of always funny how that works. Let's say that might go around. Let's push that up a little bit. The staff chooses the wizard. It's not always clear why. That's going to get lighter and more yellow. This needs to have some features on it. And then I need to make sure it twists. It does the twist. Alright, this thing, I'm definitely going to need more CAD yellow here. Yeah, let's flesh out this more CAD lemon, more specifically. Whoa. Don't need that much, that's plenty. Alright, let's do some nice CAD yellow with a little bit of white. I don't think this is going to get pure white. I actually don't want it to. I want it to be yellow. It's the brightest it might get. That'll be fun. Now that's going to become a little darker, sort of a dark little green there. Almost like there's clouds inside this thing. That's kind of fun. I'll have to soften some of those edges in a second here. Whew. Let's say this could be a nice green. I need to find the edge of this glass. And it's got to be within this little branch structure thing. Let's say let's make that a little cooler green inside here, but way lighter. I could even do sort of a layer. That's fun. Let's throw some of that yellow in here. Looks like it's reflecting off the inside of this glass. There's a fun, complicated little swirly thing happening there now. Could soften a little bit of this. Let's make sure this thing is actually standing upright, not lilting over to one side. I think it needs a little more on that side and a little less on that side. A little more there as that wraps around the back. There we go. I don't know what color this is going to be yet, but let's just, there we go, something to cover up that. That's better. Yeah, I definitely want to make sort of some highlights against the edges of this stuff. As if that glow is reaching around this thing. Not like a reach around. That's a different. But this reaching around this little branch. It's diffracting. I'll be more specific. Some of you are laughing your ass off right now. Some of you are going, what? What does that mean? We'll just pretend I didn't say that. Alright, my tunes just ended. Let's get some more tunes going. Let's pull this out a little more so there's a little more substance. And by that, let's push this side in a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, that's... Let's say the outside of that thing is going to be a little more blue, bluish green, and a lighter value. Now, as for the twisty twist of this bark. I'm scraping away the paint a little more than I want here. Let's go for this medial sort of color in the middle. Let's make this a lighter value on the edges here. Nice. I think I'm going to need to actually add the dark for this area up here because it's so light. A little dark underneath his claw there. This is, I can shape that claw a little better here. There will be a little glow around the edge of that too. Let's stand back and look at that a little bit. That looks great. Okay, coming along good. Take a break for a second. I gotta finish those legs now. Okay, I probably got another hour and a half in this thing easy. Those trees in the background I'd like to make look nice. I need to make them look subtle so that they don't interfere with my bird too much. So that's actually going to be the trickiest part, I think. Alright, let's finish those legs. Not an expert on bird leg anatomy, so it's kind of, how do I handle those? I need a 5-hour energy. I don't know, those things don't really do much for me. Maybe it wouldn't really help. Definitely guessing at some of this anatomy. Might have to be just sort of implied a little bit because it's kind of, we'll just say it's like really shiny and maybe around the back there'll be like some of these little cylinders that wrap around the leg. Right there on the nail. This one's behind the other one, so I don't want it to be too dark. This one I can do a little more of this. Nice sharp claw though. Yeah, a little darker up here. Let's play with this edge a little bit. Let's really make that underlying highlight a little stronger. There we go, that stands out a bit better now. You just gotta slowly work your way through it. Ain't no other way. People say, oh, you paint so fast. I'm like, really? I'm not painting fast right now. I'm just like agonizing through every single one of these details. I mean, I know how to get through a painting from start to finish quickly because I plan them out really well. And I just know what I'm doing in general. But it doesn't mean I paint fast at all. I don't actually like that. It's very much a misnomer. That's a knuckle. We'll do a knuckle right there. Yeah, it's better. Knuckle. He's even got some carpals and metacarpals and stuff. Really helps knowing human anatomy when I'm even painting animals. I could do a little darker for that. Like seriously, at any point in time have I been like painting like, you know, you paint so fast. I'm like, I do not paint fast. I paint very slowly and very deliberately. Just because I know my way through a painting really well. I can finish them quickly, I guess. But I'm not painting fast. Okay. Let's do this glow around the outside. Nice glowy glow coming out of there. It might go a little bit like that around the top as well. Now it's going to start getting that's got some white in it. That's not what I wanted. I guess this might be coming off the top a little bit too. All right, now I don't want necessarily all the brush strokes to go in a radius around. Mix them up a little bit. I think it's boring when they like go around in a circle around. It's kind of a little trite, I think. Now they're going to kind of get, what, a little, so you're going to fade into what, blue? Still a lighter value. All right, now let's get a bigger brush here. This is a nice dark brush. Let's use something else that's not as... All right. I think I'm on the home stretch of the painting here. A little more light, a little more green. Yeah, that's a good color for that for now. As that fades into that. Looks awesome. It's definitely a great feeling when you look at a painting and you're like, yes! That's exactly what I wanted. Doesn't always happen. Plenty of times I look at a painting and I'm like, ugh, what was I thinking when I woke up this morning? All right, this is worth another picture here. Let's look at that. I probably won't use this brush. Oh wait, that's been used, so I can't put it back. It's got to be cleaned properly. That highlight under the claw really made the whole thing pop. Oh sure. Yeah, sometimes those little tiny details, you gotta learn how to separate forms like that. Isso está muito de hora cara. Is that Portuguese? Are you saying that I'm spending a lot of time on this thing? I don't speak Portuguese, but I speak Spanish, French, and Italian, so I'm extrapolating as what I can. Muito. I don't know that verb. Isso está muito da hora cara. I'm assuming molto, a lot. Yeah, it's taking a lot of time. You're right. Um, this isn't even that. This isn't a big painting. It's only one character. I mean, I've spent days on paintings before. So yes. I mean, really, it's only been 2.5 hours. That's not long at all. I probably need another hour to do the leaves in the background and stuff. You speak very well. Well, thanks. I quite like languages. Um, I don't speak Portuguese, but I suppose after learning 3 other Romance languages, it wouldn't be that hard to learn. I wouldn't be starting from scratch necessarily. I've never been to Portugal or Brazil, so that'd be a fun place to visit. I mean, I was in Lisbon for a layover for like half an hour once, um, on my way to Europe. But other than that, I've never been. I saw Lisbon out the window of the plane as we were leaving. I'm like, wow, that place looks beautiful. Definitely should go there. Okay. Part of me wants to take a nice long break and relax, but I'm like, I want to get this done so that I can go hang out with my friends. I feel like I need like a 10-minute break. I'm going to take a quick like 10 minutes and stretch and stuff and come back. So give me just a couple minutes. Get some more water. So I'll be back in at, let's say 3:40 p.m. just in case. Mountain Standard Time. So that gives me only 14 minutes. Je vais retourner dans quelques minutes. Certo, veramente. Vado a tornare. Wow, my Italian's gone. Uh, alcuni minuti. Dentro ad alcuni minuti. Oh, we got a couple messages here. Jackie's asking if you could have a free print of your choice for your birthday. That would be up to the gallery. Don't know. We, as far as I know, don't have a free birthday print thing. But you could definitely email the gallery. That I don't know. Happy birthday, though. And Lee enjoys watching me paint. It's possible this is a raven and not a crow. Okay, well, then we can use our imaginations. And if it's not a crow, then we just won't tell anybody. Maybe it's a special magical breed of crow that's bigger and more ruggedly angular and feathery. Appreciate the heads up, though. Okay, let's get back to work here. Right? Could be a magical raven crow. I mean, Maleficent can turn a raven. She can turn a crow into a man and back again at will. So why couldn't she? Why couldn't she make into a crow or a raven or, you know, a parakeet for whatever she wants to do? All right. Now I wanted to do some tree action behind the crow, but not make it too distracting. How can I do that? Really, it's about making silhouettes out of the trees in the background. And sort of this purpley quality. Let's find a purple brush then. Use this one. It's a little green still. It's alright, I've been using all these for. Okay. And just to remind everybody, these prints are available for sale through our gallery online, and all of our prints right now are 40% off. So that's pretty amazing deal we got going on now just during the live stream. So click on the link in your streaming window there. If you want to take advantage of that. And the original is also still available for sale as well, if you're an original collector. And the original is also 40% off. So we got some insane deals right now just to help promote the show, and so you guys can get some cool prints. If you're a big Maleficent fan, you can get this cool Maleficent inspired Diavel piece 40% off. So check out those links there in your in your the descriptions of your streaming window. And then also check out our Patreon if you want to support us on our Patreon page. We have really cool rewards for all of our patrons, like discounts on prints, access to all of these live streams indefinitely, you know, so you can watch these whenever you want. If you learn a lot from them and you want to just, you know, enjoy watching them or study them or whatever, access to all my painting instructional videos that I have. We have at a certain level you get one free print every month. So I guess if it's your birthday, that could be an easy way to get a free print. And also at one stage we have, you know, the higher up your subscription goes, the more benefits you get, of course. One stage is you get first right of refusals on any originals that we do. We have a list of collectors who, whenever I paint something, we approach those collectors first and say, here's his new piece, do you want it or not? You say yes or no, and you know, if they say no, it goes on to the next collector. So that's how you can get my originals before someone else does, is by being on that list. So that's pretty cool. So we have something for everybody. We have something for the casual print collector and for the more serious original collector, or for just a fan who wants to support us. Like we have $1 a month level where you just you get access to all the streams that we're doing and stuff. But we have all kinds of different cool rewards. So definitely check that out. I don't know if Nick is watching, because he's not. He usually is right on the ball with posting those links for everything. Nick, if you're watching, post the print links and the Patreon. I'm adding some leaves in the background here just to make some sort of trees. Oh, that's looking nice. I'm actually painting the negative space around the trunks, and that is creating the illusion of trees. That's working pretty well, actually. And we'll do a little bit here. I think this lighter value will help bring out the crow a little bit. Maybe we'll connect those just a little bit. Nice. Now I've got to use these leaves to bring this composition in. I never dreamed that I knew somebody like you. Wanna fall in love. No, I wanna fall in love with you. Some sticks and twigs for little critters to run and hide and play. And we'll do nobody loves no one. Some shinies around the trees here in the distance. That's a cool little background. Jackie, you're commenting again about the birthday thing. I addressed that. That's something you have to ask the gallery. I don't know. I don't think we have any kind of a free print for birthday thing going on right now. We probably wouldn't be able to stay in business if we gave everybody a free print on their birthday. So I don't think we have something like that at the moment. Sorry to say. Yeah, Nick just confirmed that. Sorry, we do not have a free birthday print thing because we probably wouldn't be able to afford to stay in business if we did that. But no harm in asking, right? I'm gonna break up some of these tree outlines that I did. That looks pretty cool. So it's like in a little forest. It's subtle. I'm like, wow, that happened really fast. Volte. I don't know. Is that I would like? Volte. Voudrais or votrei in Italian. Or yo querías. Yo quería. No S at the end. Right? Me gustaría? Is that what you're saying? I'm guessing. You returned. Volte. Oh, okay. I was way off. Well, that background just happened real quick. I didn't think that was going to come together that quickly. Jeez. I can put some grass and stuff here. Oh crap, I might be almost done with the painting. Here's another one where I want to let it sit for a while and then do some fun stuff. Some fun sort of foggy stuff with this, with the light here, maybe some stuff on his chest. I mean, I suppose I could do a little bit. I could do a little splattery action. And for that, I put this on so I don't breathe in splatters, because these oil paints are rather toxic. Yeah, let's do some fun stuff. Don't want to be breathing in cadmium yellow. That's for sure. Kind of make my own little airbrush here with a I think it's like a little magical quality to it too. Little glowy glow, splattery, pixie dusty sort of action or something. You guys probably can't even see what's happening with this because it's too far away. But it looks cool. Let's do a little green. So send a secondary color here. I'll do a little bit on Diavel himself. You guys probably can't even see that that's happening, but it looks cool. Let's do some more up here. Let's do some green. Let's do some purple. Let's do a little bit of little whitish, greenish, right on his eye there. Oh, sure. Well, I mean, Jackie, our paper prints are the $40 for one, and they're 40% off. So that means they're like, what, 25 or something? So that's still pretty. That's our cheapest thing we got is. I can't do that math in my head. $24. So that's as cheap as we can get. Hopefully that's helping. We try to be helpful. It's always my sort of philosophy to have affordable art that people can buy. Okay, this one might be done. There's only so much I can do to beat it to death. before it starts to be detrimental. Let's take a picture. I love taking a picture on there. Yeah, 45 bucks for a canvas. That's pretty awesome. So we try to do the best we can to make affordable work, and we have a sale also. Trying to get this. Oh. So hard to get a photograph because of the lights behind me. Ugh. Trying to block off, there it is. Okay. Well, cool. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Yeah, I could call this one done. Oops. Yeah, you guys can't see it. Yeah, so please follow us on whatever streaming service you're watching if you want to see more of these videos. I have one more to do tomorrow. I'm doing Pascal from Tangled, or inspired by Tangled. So I'm doing a fun chameleon, but in this more realistic style. So please follow us on whatever streaming service you're watching if you want to watch that. And also to find out more about sales that we're having and you know, the new pieces that I'm doing. I do this streaming like a couple times a week. I didn't use any of those colors at all. And then check out our Patreon if you'd like to subscribe to our Patreon and support the gallery. Lee, thanks for watching. And Jessica, thanks for watching. And glad you got a print of Hagrid's hut there. That was a fun one. You have to look through that one when you get it. There's all kinds of fun stuff that I hid in that one. So you see, look through it and see what you can find. I don't want to tell you and spoil it. I'll let you find some things. And what else? If you want to follow me personally online, my artwork, Christopher Clark Art is my hashtag. And on Facebook, Instagram, Christopher Clark Art, all one word. And let's see, that's it, I think. Clean this up, and this will be ready for tomorrow's painting. Yeah, please tune in tomorrow, same time, 1 p.m. Mountain Time to, whenever it's done. We say 1 to 6, but honestly, sometimes the painting doesn't take that long. Some of the more complicated ones do. Some of the Lord of the Rings ones, I was streaming for 3 days straight because they're much more complicated pieces. But this is it's one character. It's a smaller piece, so I knew it wasn't going to take me the entire the entire 5 hours. So that's just how it goes. But starting at 1. And that's, of course, starting with the blank white panel all the way through to a finished painting, however long that takes. I think that'll be equally not a super long one. You know, what time is it now? It's 4, so that was 3 hours. That's including a little break in the middle. Hopefully no one's perturbed that it wasn't as long as advertised. I mean, it's a free stream. It's not like you guys paid for this. So. Okay. Oops. Missed the trash can. Cool. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm Christopher Clark, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Making sure that it's okay. I was talking to the guy at the gallery. I'm like, is it okay that I'm done? Because there was advertised that I go until 6. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Follow us on all the things, and we'll catch you later. Thanks, guys.